Stand beside her, guide her from the light of the light up above. Never could get those words right. From the mountain to the valley to the ocean, wide with foam. God bless America, yes. My home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home. What a song. What a great song. Yeah. And black folks don't know that song. It's a great song, though. I want to give you a history lesson today if you got time. What I suggest you do is grab your notes, grab your pen and pencil, because this nerd right here is going to take you through about a 200-year course on American history. So. Hello, everybody. So about the Jones Show. I'm here. There's the evening edition, weekend edition, baby. How y'all is? Come on in. Water is fine. Jeanne, good to see you, girl. And Amber, you said what the? You wasn't listening to my show yesterday when I was saying that my weekend show's at 9:00. Monday through Saturday, Monday through Friday is at 8:00. I got the weekend, baby. And so I'm going to enjoy the 9:00 shows, okay? Victoria Dubois, Veronica, Beatrice, Marshall, and a whole bunch of y'all coming in here. The Pools and the Loves and the McDaniels. And, ooh, man, y'all are here. All right, let's get this ball of crack-a-lack-and pits, shall we? Yes, that's exactly it, Marshall. God is moving the chess piece again. Good evening to you, Phyllis. This is a God move, and if you don't see it, I don't know when you're going to see it. You should have been seeing it a long time. All right, so I took some extensive notes for you. I've done too many shows on American history, the branches, the presidencies, the judges. I did too many of these shows from the top of my noggin. All right. And so I'm going to recapture this again in today's show to help you understand that what just happened by the death of our dear auntie, all right, shook up some things in American history, in democracy, and Bible prophecy. You understand? Man, God is all up in this. If you don't know that, well, you're going to find out today. Let's talk about the three branches of the government here so that we could get a good idea and a refresher course on what's going on here. Okay, show you my screen here. Now, these are the three branches as we know them. All right, the legislative branch is the branch that write the bills. They write the laws. These are the House of Representatives and the senators that you put in office during the midterm elections. All right, very important. I'll bring that point up in the show, hopefully. All right, the midterm elections. All right, that's the legislative branch. Of course, in the middle is the executive branch. Who I'm sorry, I'm all over the place, but yes, the executive branch is the enforcer. They enforce. They're the ones that can. That's why they're able to bring in some military on the streets of your towns and your cities and your states. All right, and because they are the enforcers of the law, and the president of the United States raises his right hand and says he promises to do all these great things. Okay, all right, and then there is the judicial part, in which we're going to spend most of the time on, and of course. That, of course, is they're the ones who interpret the laws. All right. Now, what is this thing about interpreting the law is very important on the interpretation of the law. They do not make laws. They interpret the law, point and simple. But them interpreting the law is extremely important, which can affect not just our lives immediately, but it affects your great grandchildren way down the road. You understand what I'm saying? And so that's why this fight over Supreme Court justices is a major fight between both sides in all generations, because how it can affect us right now and how it can affect our children down the road. You understand? This takes me back to my political science. Come on, bless life. All right, now, come on. All right. And so here is a picture of the judges currently. All right. These are the current judges that are alive. On the left are those who lean on the liberal side, Breyer and Sotomayor and Kagan. All right. We've got the two women liberals on the left. All right. And then we have those who lean conservative on the right. Some of y'all saying, why is there not an empty picture of our dear sister, our dear auntie Ruth Ginsburg on the left? Well, believe it or not, Ruth Bader Ginsburg was not a super liberal woman. It seems she was. All right. But she was kind of liberal, kind of conservative. All right. We'll go into that maybe a little further on in the lesson. But on the right side are the lean conservative. Notice that they're using the word lean. Okay. Very important. Kavanaugh being the latest one. Roberts been on there for a little while. Of course, Thomas. Gorsuch came in during the Trump administration, and Alito. We'll talk about him. And then, of course, there's that vacant seat. All right. Now, there is 9 on the court, but there do not have to be 9. Interpretation of the law is critical because it's based on their perception. Boom! You better come on, y'all, and you history buffs out there. All right, so I'm going to try my best to get through this the best way I can, kind of help y'all understand what's really going on. Okay, now 1 hour after the death of Scalia, remember this, 2016, 1 hour after the death of Scalia, Mitch McConnell said that they will not hear President Obama's selection. We ain't hearing it. The man's dead. We just don't want to hear it. Let's bury the man, and let's mourn for the man, and let's think about the man's family. We send our love and our prayers and our thoughts to the family. But Obama, we don't want to hear it right now. It's just we can't talk about it. We can't talk about that. Okay. Then he presents this man, Merrick Garland, to America, who really was qualified more than anybody we knew. And Mitch McConnell says, no, you are a lame duck president, and we should allow the new president who's coming in to select the next Supreme Court justice. That was Mitch McConnell, 2016. He blocked it. Why? Why was he able to do that? Because during the time of Obama, the liberal left, or the Democrats, had the White House, but they did not have the Senate. You understand? Okay. A few hours after hearing Justice Anthony Kennedy resignation in 2018, that's only a couple years ago. I don't know if y'all were paying attention. Just a couple hours after Anthony Kennedy resigned, Mitch McConnell says, we will approve Trump's nomination. They were talking about already putting somebody in office. Scalia dies. Now let's not talk about that. It's too early. Let's not talk about it. All right. That's the same way the Republicans treat gun control when it comes to somebody going into school and shooting up all of the kids, all right, they'll say, listen, it's not time to talk about gun control. We got to go to the funeral. We got to pray for the families. My thoughts and prayers are with them. Let's not talk about it. Let's not talk about it, okay? And this is usually the escapes, the deflecting roles that both parties do play. And so day before yesterday, I can't keep up with my days. The notorious RBG pass. Chris Wallace had on Fox News Tom Cotton, all right? And I want you to hear the spin that I'm talking about. I'll play a minute of this.
Back in 2016, after Justice Scalia died, President Obama named federal judge Merrick Garland as his new nominee to the court. And as you well know, you were part of the Senate then. Senate Republicans blocked the choice of Garland. Here's what you said at that time.
In a few short months, we will have a new president and new senators who can consider the next justice with the full faith of the American people. Why would we cut off the national debate about this next justice? Why would we squelch the voice of the people? Why would we deny the voters a chance to weigh in on the makeup of the Supreme Court?
Now, Garland was nominated 9 months before the election. And you were saying then, 9 months before the election, it was wrong to deny voters a chance to weigh in. So if it was wrong then, 9 months before the election, why is it okay now, 6 weeks before the election?
So, Chris, in 2014, the American people elected a Republican majority of the Senate to put the brakes on President Obama's judicial nominations. In 2018, we had a referendum on this question. Just a month before the 2018 midterms, we had the vote on Justice Kavanaugh. There could not have been a clearer mandate because the American people didn't just re-elect Republicans, they expanded our majority. They defeated 4 Democratic senators who voted against Justice Kavanaugh. They re-elected the 1 Democratic senator who did vote for Justice Kavanaugh. So we have a clear mandate to perform our constitutional duty. That's what the Senate majority will do now. That's what we did back in 2016 as well.
You really don't think there is any hypocrisy at all in saying we need to give voters, because, I mean, you can parse the 2014 election, the 2018 election any way you want, but you stated a pretty firm principle in 2016 about Merrick Garland. It's wrong to deny voters a chance to weigh in. You don't see any hypocrisy between that position then and this position now?
Chris, the Senate majority is performing our constitutional duty and fulfilling the mandate that the voters gave us in 2016 and especially in 2018.
Yeah. You see what happened? You see the amazing spin? It's called the amazing spin. I call it that. Chris Wallace, one of the most trusted men I know over there in Fox News, Real News. His show is Real News. The rest of it is just pure garbage. They got rid of Shepard after he left there. It was only one guy standing, and that was Chris. The spin is just amazing and gives you a headache when you see this stuff happening. Ruth Bader Ginsburg death means for America a furious battle over Supreme Court vacancy is arguably the last thing the United States need right now. The death of Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg today represents the devastating loss for the feminists who held up the 87-year-old as an icon of women's rights. This is very important, y'all. And as a bulwark protecting abortion rights and a wide range of other progressive ideas on the conservative Supreme Court. Now, I'm going to talk about this abortion thing in a minute. The Brooklyn-born jurist became one of the nation's foremost advocates against gender discrimination as a lawyer for the ACLU decades before President Bill Clinton appointed her to be the second woman to sit on the high court. But her passing less than 2 months before the presidential election also tosses one more lit match into the tinderbox of national politics this year, 2020. It will surely inflame a deeply polarized country already riven by a deadly pandemic, a steep economic downturn, and civil unrest in its major cities. In Washington, the vacancy fight could ratchet up tensions to a level unseen even in the tumultuous Trump era. Trump will be eager to fill Ginsburg's seat immediately, seizing an opportunity to rally his base before the election and to cement his legacy in the event that he is defeated in November. He could also become the first president since Richard Nixon to install 3 justices on the high court in a single 4-year term. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell has already indicated that he's ready for another confirmation battle. Either before or immediately after the election, Republicans might be hard-pressed to consider and approve a Trump nominee in the 8 weeks before November, but even a victory by Vice President Joe Biden and a Democratic takeover of the Senate might not prevent Trump from successfully appointing another justice. I don't care how y'all vote. Republicans would still control both the White House and the Senate until a new Congress takes office in January. You understand? Sometimes it takes 60 days or more for the FBI to do background checks on the new person that the president selects, or it could take a while, but they could fast track this because they're trying to fast track a vaccine, which usually takes a couple years. But when America want to do something, they're going to fast track it if it benefits those who are part of either the 1% or those who are upper echelon or those who are in political seats. They will fast track whatever it takes to save their families. Ginsburg made her own desire clear in the days before her death. NPR's Nina Totenberg reported today she dictated a statement to her granddaughter that reads, "My most fervent wish is that I will not be replaced until a new president is installed." Whether this final wish will be granted is unclear, but McConnell has insisted that the precedent he created in denying former Barack Obama's nomination of Judge Merrick Garland in the final year of the Obama term to fill a vacancy that occurred nearly 9 months before the 2016 election. Do you understand? Barack Obama selected this man, I believe, in March of 2016. He still had months to go before he left the office, and it was blocked. So no longer applies. All right? Because the same party controls both the White House and the Senate majority. This is what he's saying. He says, "Oh, we'd fill it. The Kentucky Republican promised." Okay? Yeah, oh, we'd fill it. All right, so let me give you a little history lesson here on the Supreme Court. Justice, there's a job out there with a great deal of power, prestige, and pay. Y'all, that's almost $50,000, y'all, a year. And near perfect job security, and there's only one way to be hired: get appointed to the Supreme Court. And if you want to become a justice on the Supreme Court, the highest federal court in the United States, 3 things must happen. You have to be nominated by the President of the United States. Your nomination needs to be approved by the Senate. And finally, the President must formally appoint you to the court. And because the Constitution doesn't specify any qualifications, in other words, that there's no age, no education, no profession, or even native-born citizenship requirement. You could be born in Russia and be a justice here. You could be born in North Korea and become one. A president can nominate any individual that he wants to. That's why they're talking about some of the senators right now being in there. Y'all understand? So far, 6 justices have been foreign-born. They came from European nations. Yes, at least one never graduated from high school, and another was only 32 years old when he joined the bench. Most presidents nominate individuals who broadly share their ideologies, and so a president with a liberal ideology will tend to appeal to liberals to the court. Y'all understand? All right. So, of course, a justice's leanings are not always so predictable. Yeah. Linda said, "Please don't give him no wise ideas." No wild ideas. Yes. Today, the only 2 have said they wouldn't comply. Yeah. For example, when President Eisenhower, a Republican, nominated Earl Warren for Chief Justice, Eisenhower expected him to make conservative decisions. Y'all remember Earl Warren when JFK was shot and he issued a Warren report? Remember that? All right, so President Eisenhower expected him to vote like, I'm not so much vote, but you know what I mean. Yeah, that is a vote. And instead, Warren judgments have gone down as some of the most liberal in the court's history. And actually recently, because of this, you know, the courts meet in the summertime, they end in the summertime. And these couple things that did hit the Supreme Court, the two justices that Donald Trump put in went against the whole conservative movement, went against it. So don't get so excited and scared when a conservative president put in a conservative judge, or a president put in a liberal judge. That doesn't always work to his advantage. It's like the electoral college. Do not always vote by the way of the popular, the people who put them in the office. Sometimes they could switch and jump. Now they will suffer when they do that. There's a cost behind that. Eisenhower later remarked on that appointment as the biggest darn fool mistake he ever made. And he didn't say darn, he said the other word. Many other factors come up for consideration as well, including experience, your personal loyalties, your ethnicity, and your gender. This is why Trump said he will put in a woman to replace. We've got Thomas because he replaced a black man. You understand? So the candidates are then thoroughly vetted down to their tax returns and payments to domestic help. Once the president interviews the candidate and makes a formal nomination announcement, the Senate leadership traditionally turns the nomination over to the hearings by the Senate Judiciary Committee, which Mitch McConnell blocked in 2016. You understand? Because he still was the leader. Depending on the contentiousness of the choice, that can stretch over many, many days. So since the Nixon administration, these hearings have averaged 60 days. Well, we don't have 60 days. This is why they're going to push something, and it's really going to take a really trick of the trade to get this thing done. But again, America do whatever America want to do. The nominee is interviewed about their law record, if applicable, and where they stand on key issues to discern how they might vote. And especially in a more recent history, the committee tries to unearth any dark secrets or past indiscretions. And this is why Judge Kavanaugh went through so much hell in his hearings when that woman came forth and talked about her hippocampus and her memory of what he did to her, and why it just was this battle. All right, this contentious battle happened, and not just with him. It happened also with Justice Thomas with Anita Hill. Remember that. All right. The Judiciary Committee votes to send the nomination to the full Senate with a positive or negative recommendation, often reflective of political leanings, or no recommendation at all. It's listen, we a hung jury. All right. Most rejections have happened when the Senate majority has been a different political party than the president. So Mitch McConnell, if this was Barack Obama, and who is this? Merrick Garland was heard in a Senate, then of course that Senate would have been asking them all of the hard-pressed questions, and they would have been like, okay, never mind. No matter what he said, no matter what his answers were, we'll hear you, but we really never wanted you. When the Senate does approve, it's by a simple majority vote, with ties broken by who? The vice president. Well, how's that going to work out? With the Senate consent, then the president issues a written appointment, allowing the nominee to complete the final steps to take the constitutional and judicial oath. I, Sir Walter Jones, swear that I won't swear no more, blah, blah, blah. In doing so, they solemnly swear to administer justice without respect to persons and do equal rights to the poor and the right and all this mumbo jumbo. And this job is for life. Of course, bearing resignation, which we saw recently in 2018, retirement or removal of the court by an impeachment, and no one has been impeached that I know of since then. Out of the 112 justices, no one has been impeached. One of their roles is to protect the fundamental rights of all Americans, all of them, even as different parties take power. And this is why Ruth Bader Ginsburg is such was a very important piece of that puzzle, because of her rights, her push for not just women's rights, but all Americans. With the tremendous impact of this responsibility, it's no wonder that a U.S. Supreme Court justice is expected to be, in the words of Irving R. Kaufman, a paragon of virtue, an intellectual titan, and an administrative wizard. Of course, not every member of the court turns out to be the exemplar of justice. All right, man, this is a tough one. This is a big thing here. Each leaves behind a legacy of decisions and opinions to be debated and dissected by the ultimate judges, time and history. There's a job out there, y'all, with a great deal of power, pay, prestige, and near perfect job security. And do you want it? Do you want it? Well, you can have it if you know the president of the United States. He'll get you in. You just turn in your resume and you all in. All right, now, this is not just about abortion. For those of you who are wondering, well, Brother Jones, I'm tossed here because I am against abortion. I'm not for women killing their babies and men too paying for these abortions, and the doctors or men and women. All right. I'm not for this. And if this woman was fighting for the rights to uphold Roe versus Wade, and what about homosexual rights? OK, gay rights and what have you, civil unions and blah, blah, blah. OK, what's going on there? Surely she was not a woman or a judge who I would have considered to be sitting on that. If the conservatives were against these two things, then I should vote conservative. Well, true, I too vote conservative. Mostly when I go down there to pull the lever, I vote conservative, and I too am against abortion and the legal rights for men and two women to marry. I'm not against their rights of other things, okay, but I'm against their rights because me being a Christian, it would be ridiculous for me to say it's okay for them. No, but if it becomes a law, I leave it alone. Y'all understand here? It is the law of the land, and so I don't bother it anymore. Let the world do what the world do. Sinners do what sinners do, and the Bible told me that I am to judge those of you who are in the body of Christ. Not to judge the world, because the world does what the world does and God's going to judge them. My job is not to judge them, but to go out there and win them. The commission is to compel them to come over to my side. That is it. So if it becomes the law of the land, if I was a Supreme Court justice, then I'm just going to have to uphold the law. That is my job, is to interpret it. All right. This is what it says. All right. Now, but there is a toss in my members, like it's a toss in y'all's members as well. It's difficult to sit on the seat of judgment, and to look at who you are in Christ and to look at the status quo, the rule of law. I went to court, I went to law school and got my degree, and now here I am sitting on the bench, and I cannot input my opinion and thoughts based off of my religious beliefs, because then that goes into the separation of church and state, and it should not overlap. This should be separate, and this should be separate, and it's actually a good thing. It is a healthy thing. It's a protective thing, because when the issue of church and state came on the scene, to Thomas Jefferson, it was mostly about the church staying out of the business of the church. Do you understand? He did this to protect the church. Many people don't know this. It's like the writ of divorce that Moses gave to the Israelites. God allowed him to give the writ of divorce to protect the woman. People don't think about that. You understand? So if it is to protect the church, and so this may be a good thing. Understand that God will take care of the church. Don't worry about that. But Ruth Bader Ginsburg's death is not so much about Roe versus Wade. That's what they're making it. That is the elephant in the room. That is the big thing, because liberals and those that are part of the Democratic Party and those of you who want to still have the right to kill your baby if you don't want it, that makes you nervous because you feel like women's rights are more important than anything. You will wear a seatbelt, even though it's the law for you to wear the seatbelt, or you will get ticketed. You'll do the little things, wearing the mask. If that's the law, you'll do those things. No shoe, no shirt, no service. So you put on a shirt. You do all these things that the government tell you to do. But when the government tell you that you can't kill a baby inside, you say, well, this is my body and I have the right. This is the mentality of mankind. Humanity stink. Oh, we just want this, we want this. And this is why I believe COVID-19 has come and swept through the United States more so in a worse way than it did any other nations, because our freedom has caused us to live in a dangerous society. Because of our freedom, because we have the right to do whatever we want to, which the framers gave us this ability in the Constitution, we've become lazy, we've become elitist, we've become socialites who feel that we can do and say whatever we want to because of our First Amendment rights. But what it's doing is killing grandmama, it's killing grandpa, and these people are walking around here who are systematic symptoms. Yeah, that right there. Never could say that word, okay? And they walking around here with COVID-filled systems. It ain't doing nothing to them. They don't even have a slight cold. And they blowing on people and saying, I ain't wearing no mask. Let me in this store. All right? And then they going around spreading it, and then grandmama died. So this is happening in America because we are spoiled little brats. You understand? So this thing on abortion, y'all didn't want her to die because you were afraid that he was going to put in a conservative judge who will overturn, or at least help. She can't do it by herself. Help overturn Roe versus Wade because of the tipping of the conservative judges in there, and you got nervous. Why would you be nervous about somebody getting rid of a law that is against God? Why? Why would you do that? So this is not about just abortion. This is about a rollback on women's rights, number one. Number two, turning back the clock to pre-civil rights era in anti-discrimination laws. Number two, her death can affect number three, which is open season on election interference. Her death can affect number four, voter suppression. Do y'all understand? They're pushing abortion in your face, but you don't understand there are four major things that can affect you as a minority, or you who are African Americans. So don't get excited over the abortion and the gay thing. That is law. God will take care of those things, but there are some other things that's right there that can affect you and who you vote for and who make up the whole political spectrum, and pay attention to it. Pay close attention to it, because if you're not, you're running after something that you don't see. That's something bad. You're running, but something is chasing you. You don't see what's chasing you. You understand? Yes. They don't need Planned Parenthood. That was the poor and those who profit from legal abortions always follow the money. Yeah. Y'all are saying stuff over here. I wish I could catch up to you, but I got to keep going. And my question to a person today is, what did Ruth ever do for the black community? Well, listen, brother. She was a feminist, yes, Jason, but I don't know if you heard anything that I said. All right, because you got to be careful of what are they doing for black people. Y'all voted for Barack Obama and asked the same question. What is he going to do for black people? My question to black people is, what are you doing for black people? Huh? I'm not talking to Jason, because Jason's a good man. I know him. I know his works. My general question to you is, what are you doing for black people? What we do as black people is we go down into the polls so that somebody down there can help us. Understand? But I'd like to know, what are we doing for ourselves? Somebody sent me a video of this Black Panther group going into a Asian store, what was a Pakistani or what have you, because this storekeeper called this black girl a bitch. She went back and got this Black Panther people, and the Black Panther people came in there. There was several of them. They went in there and they shut that store down, made that man apologize to the black woman, all right, and told him to call his boss. We're shutting this down, and they made this man leave behind the counter, locked the door, pulled the gate on, and he got in his car and drove off. And they stood in front of the store with their weapons. Black power, no justice, no peace. And I said, nah, number one, that's beautiful. That's beautiful that you're protecting your sister from some other race or calling her a bitch. That's great. But I got a problem here. I don't think what you did was legal. You see, y'all. This is why the white folks are afraid of you. Number one, that's why the police, when they pull you over, they automatically got their weapons out because they don't know what the heck you gonna do. Because your vigilante moves, okay? Then when you hear Black Lives Matter, white folks get scared because they don't know what's getting ready to happen. So I don't know if you broke a law or not. But my biggest point is, why aren't you doing that when a black man beats his wife? When a black man rapes his daughter or try to rape and molest my daughter? Huh? Why aren't you doing that in the black community? Trying to get us to get some loans and some business loans and these abandoned buildings up and down our streets and our neighborhoods. Why aren't you getting the city to tear that stuff down, raise the money, tear it down, hire a construction company, tear it down and build new homes in that little area right there and fill it up with some of these single mothers that are at your churches, on your jobs, okay? Why aren't you doing this instead of showing us your might by having the agent to shut down his shop because she called this black woman this? But these brothers are doing the same thing and you ain't saying nothing. Miss me with that. I'm not impressed with that video whatsoever. You understand? Here's some fun facts. Roughly 8,000 cases are submitted to the Supreme Court. 8,000. Guess how many get in? 80. That's it. And those 80 can affect you. It may seem like a small amount, but it's big. The federal court system consists of 3 layers, y'all. The district, the circuit, and the Supreme Court. Very, very important. And you have to petition the Supreme Court with what they call a writ of certiorari. I think it's called certiorari. Certiorari. Yeah, pretty much a writ of cert. You may see that. Go ahead and Google that. But what's at stake here with the death of this woman or anybody who might resign or retire or die on the Supreme Court? What's at stake? The 14th Amendment is always at stake. You understand? Do you understand the importance of her death? It's not just about abortion. Stop focusing on that. See, CNN is going to spin it. MSNBC going to continue to spin that news, okay? ABC, CBS, and NBC going to continue to spin that news on abortion. But look at the other things that can and will come up, because the Republican Party or the conservative movement is not the conservative movement of Abraham Lincoln. They switch. They've gone another way, and it's all about prominence and power and elitism, all at the cost of their feet on your neck. They're trying to override and reverse, all right, things that your forefathers fought for. So her death was important because of the rollback, women's rights, civil rights, election interference, voter suppression, redrawing districts, and gerrymandering. All these things are very important. You gotta look past some of the things that y'all look at. All right. So why are the justices so important? There was a story that I did give on the king remember King Henry VIII wanted a divorce. He was all for the Catholic Church. Oh, he was a proponent of the Catholic Church, the supremacy of the Catholic Church. All right, until he wanted to marry somebody else's wife. And when the Pope said you can't do it because the Pope was like God at the time, then what did the man do? What did King Henry VIII do? Change the laws to benefit him. That's the United States. Why don't they do that when our men call all black women BITs? Come on, LaRue, come on, man. I'm trying to tell you, this is sad. I'm not impressed with it. The majority of us just are talking loud and saying nothing. Jerome Carpenter can't get along with each other with our own kind. Yeah, marching the wrong way. Hey, by the way, Jerome Carter, we answered your question of the day. I'm so sorry, but I thought about it after I left the air yesterday, that we answered your question at the 2:30 hour on the Sons of Thunder. Go on the YouTube channel. You're there now after this show, and we answered your question about the baptism according to Acts 2:38 in detail. Go towards the end of the show, last 10 minutes, and we did answer your question of the day, Jerome Carpenter. I want the brothers to join in and answer it with me, and they did a great job. You may or may not agree with it, but the answer is there. All right, blessings. A great question, by the way. Jason Shepard, I always have an issue when voting for judges because I never know who they are, what they believe. It's harder to vote for judges than politicians. Yes, yet true. But are you voting for judges? Oh, you mean in the city? Yeah, I see what you're saying. Well, it's an easy way to find out who they are. It really is if they've already been sitting on the bench. But if they're new, yeah, I see what you mean. Because we're still begging for crumbs. Yeah, I see what you mean, Jason. Now, Donald Trump is only being used as a puppet to get the real dangerous people in power. You need to see this. You understand? He's only being used to get the real people in power. And then God will remove him, like he did every tyrant in the Old Testament. You understand? We are focusing and spending too much brain power and cell power on one man and his crazy antics when many lower case judges are being installed right before our eyes. And no one's talking about that. Not in our communities, we're not. Do y'all understand? These lowercase judges are being installed like never before. And we're focusing on just the Supreme. But many of the federal judges are being put in. And you're not thinking about that. Now, God planned this out 30 years ago with a man by the name of Robert Bork. Understand? After this show, I need you to Google Robert Bork. And I believe in my heart of hearts, God planned this out. That's happening right now. In this pandemic, he planned it out 30 years ago. And I can demonstrate that later on through the story of Joseph. God chooses judges. Yeah. The Republicans, I said this last year. All right? I'm not calling myself a big time prophet. Okay? But I said this last year for those of you who was watching my show. I said the Republicans will get 3 judges by the end of the Trump term. And I first said no. What I said was he have an opportunity to get 3 judges at the end of his term. Not realizing that this was going to happen, and if he's elected again, now the data goes against Trump being reelected. The data, but the plan of God could go towards him being elected because God is not through with him yet, and God is not really dealing with Trump. God is dealing with America through Trump. Y'all have to hear what I'm saying. Y'all better hear me, because this is very, very important. Very important. Where are we? He has appointed approximately 200 lower courts, district judges. I told y'all. Those after us directly. Yep. Look at the situation with, there it is, Cal Ritten. Yep, there it is. Can you help us know how we should vote? Absolutely. I was supposed to have done a show already on the candidates. I was, and I gotta get that going. Some people have already voted. Some people already got their stuff in the mail, and it's already sitting there. All right. This is why it is inappropriate for the Republican Party to push a candidate through right now. Why? Because it's different from Barack Obama's time, because people have already voted. We're already voting. You understand? Ballots are already sitting on the desk. So it is inappropriate. The people should be the ones who select the Supreme Court justice. Let the people vote. Understand? Now, the people don't vote directly, but who the people voted in the midterm election. Now, hear me real quick. You got to pay close attention to this chess game here is. If you did not vote in the midterm election, you don't have a voice, or you got nothing to say right now, what's going on right now. You're like, I voted for the president of the United States. Okay, good. We're glad you did. But if you didn't vote for the midterm, you see, the president can select whoever he wants to, but it's got to be approved by who you voted for in the midterms. And this is the problem with African Americans. We don't vote in the midterm. We only vote every 4 years for the president. And then we cry for 4 and 8 years because things ain't happening in our community, because you don't know how the electoral work. You don't understand who holds the key to your immediate success. You understand? Your mayor, your governor, and your senator is extremely important, more so than your president directly. Do you understand? And if you don't understand that, then right now you have no voice. So if you had selected or voted properly in the midterms, then whoever this man chooses, your representative would be in the Senate right now. Do y'all understand what I'm saying? If y'all did not pay attention in grammar school and high school, this is why you're hurting today. So when somebody say, what are they doing for black people? You should not be worried about what the government doing for black people. It's like what Kennedy said. Don't ask what the government could do for you. Ask what you could do for yourself. All right, I twisted that. All right, because he forgot to say it that way. Ask what you can do for your family. Local elections are so important. Then yes, come on, even your school boards. Come on, y'all better preach this with me. God always make decisions either for blessing or the judgment. He is still in control. Come on, Quarter. All right. So I'm trying to give y'all a lesson here. So the Republicans got a chance to get 3 judges in there in the interim. Now Nixon appointed Warren Burger, William Rehnquist, Harry Blackman, and Lewis Powell. Now, I will go deeper into this, but I'm not. But I want to talk about Bork. Remember I told y'all to Google Bork, all right? Because what happened to him is very important on what's happening right now. President Ronald Reagan nominated Bork for Assistant Justice of the Supreme Court on my birthday in 1987 to replace the retiring Associate Justice Lewis Powell. Now, it was a hotly contested United States debate over Bork's nomination, all right? Opposition was partly fueled by civil rights and women's rights groups concerning about Bork's opposition to the authority claimed by the federal government to impose standards of voting fairness upon states at his confirmation hearing. All right? Okay? And his stated desire to roll back civil rights decisions. Y'all see what's happening of the Warren and the Burr courts. Bork was one of the only 3 Supreme Court nominees, along with William Rehnquist and Samuel Alito, ever to be opposed by the American Civil Liberties Union. Bork was also criticized for being an advocate of disproportionate powers for the executive branch of government, almost executive supremacy. Most notable, according to critics, for his role in the Saturday Night Massacre. You remember that, all right? So Bork, because of Ronald Reagan, set the precedence, set the clock for God to work 30 years until right now. Y'all understand? All right? So we got Clarence Thomas, Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Bill Clinton put him up there. Put her up there in 93 because she replaced Byron White. And then there are these other ones. George Bush put in Alito, and Barack Obama put in Sotomayor and Kagan. Okay? All right. And then came Trump's 2 that he got put in there. Okay, now, I gotta see here what I want to do here. I want to talk about, in brief, yes, Robert Bork, Joy. Here are the 10 court cases that changed America, and this is why the Supreme Court justice, whoever he select, can change the future for my 2 grandbabies. That's one here, one is on the way. Bush v. Gore, remember that? November 2000. The undecided vote is because of the Supreme Court. You know, we call them the SCOTUS. Florida court wanted to recount, but the SCOTUS decided in favor of George Bush. Understand? The second one was Obergefell versus Hodges in 2015. That was the same-sex legalization marriage. Very important, don't you think? The third one was William Marbury versus Madison in 1803. It was called the writ of mandamus. All right. The Judiciary Act of 1789 gave the court power to rule on cases like this, but Chief Justice John Marshall deemed it unconstitutional. All right. That is James Adams, John Marshall, and then Thomas Jefferson and James Madison. All right. That was a biggie, 1803. Do a Google search on that tonight if you want to and see what that was all about. If you are a history buff, you're going to love that story. And this fourth one was Citizens United versus Federal Elections Commissions. That was in 2008. In your lifetime, corporations and unions have the same civil rights as individuals. Now, that was the biggie for those of you who've got businesses. Number 5, New York Times versus Sullivan in 1964. An Alabama paper told a fib about the Martin Luther King malice. Okay. 6, the Dred Scott versus Sanford in 1857. Y'all know about the Dred Scott decision. That was a biggie. Number 7, United States versus Nixon in 1974. Nixon claimed executive privilege to do pretty much whatever he wanted to do. All right. And this is what the President Trump feels the same way. Number 8, Ernesto, the Miranda versus Arizona, 1966. The Miranda rights, y'all. The police must read you your rights to remain silent and offer you counsel if you can't afford it. That's a very important ruling on my birthday. All right. 9, another biggie, Brown versus the Board of Education of Topeka, 1954, stems from the Plessy versus Ferguson of 1896 ruling. All right. Brown says the separate but equal is a myth. In education, the separate but equal has no place. All right, that's number 9. And the last one, number 10, is Roe versus Wade. That's in 1973. Aren't these cases huge? Did you not hear about them, even though you may not know what they are? You may not remember what they are. But if I said anything about Dred Scott, you say, yeah, I kind of remember what that is. If I say Miranda, you'd be like, yeah, I kind of know. If I say Brown versus Board of Education, you'd be like, yeah, that sounds familiar. Or you've heard these cases before. They were huge. right? Now, what I did was last year I gave a prophetic talk about the judges and how God is going to bring to focus and to the forefront judges. All right, and I did this, and I remember doing this. I'm gonna play this right quick. It's short. I'm gonna go to that point. I think it's 2 minutes in. Let's see. My year, and so we are focusing so much on the baby Jesus that Christ, the judge, the one with the sword in his mouth, is going to enter in, and you teachers need to focus more so on Christ, the judge and the Lion of the tribe of Judah. So you're going to notice that people are going to be removed, and God is saying this is not a Moses generation, nor is it a Joshua generation today. Y'all are preaching about Joshua after a pastor dies, but God is also removing the Joshua generation is over. It's time for the judges. The judges have entered in, and God is going to use them, male and female, and God is going to judge you and your churches, and he's going to judge the nations. I hear him speaking. He's also going to utilize those who are in politics. It is really not about Donald Trump. God allowed this, his permissive will has allowed this Trump to enter in and become the president, but it's not about Donald Trump. Understand, it's about the men and women around him. God is going to use the president's men to shake things up. Things in politics are not going to be like it used to be. Those old generals are dying out. Since the time of the death okay. All right, I don't want to play the whole thing, okay? But notice what's happening here. I kept seeing these judges, but I kept seeing him surrounded by men and women. It's a circle of people, and I kept seeing these little foxes that are going around the foot. All right, these are the people that I was paying attention to. And then shortly after that, 1 year later, you start seeing these men and women, they all falling and going to jail and being indicted and leaving and resigning or quitting and then coming out with books and all these things. Or since the time he came into an office, he started selecting all these people and talking about he cleaning up draining the swamp, but he started bringing in the swamp monsters. All right, he started doing all these things, but God's hand was in all this because it was shaking up certain subgroups of people. These men and women were used to shake up certain groups of people. All right, especially the white evangelical. Oh man, I don't think y'all understand this. They are a huge influence in America today, and God prepared them for this time. Why did he prepare them for this time? Let me tell y'all something, because I'm going to tell y'all the facts. I'm going to tell y'all the facts. God is a master. Now, clock keeper, I'm off the clock. God is a master chess player. He don't just play checkers. He plays chess. I don't know how to play chess. I've never been good at it. Somebody tried to teach it to me. I still ain't got it. Okay, I'm gonna figure it out. But this is a mental mind game here, and it takes strategy and influence and experience in order to play this. And you got to see down the road in order to play this game. All right, you got to see ahead of time in order to play this game. The Ecclesiastes chapter 1 and 3 talks about there's no good thing, there's no new thing under the sun. God sees your ending. All right, he looked into the end of the matter and he began to write the beginning. I write songs. I've written over 2,000 songs. I've showed y'all my songs in a big old black thick book. Well, most of those songs, I wrote the ending of the song. I wrote the hook first. I kept hearing this circle, which y'all may call the special. Okay, I would write that ending, and that would play in my head, and I would play that in the ear. And then I sat there, and I might went to lunch and got some water, what have you, because I'm thinking, based off of this ending of the song, I've got to write verse 1, verse 2, maybe verse 3. I probably need to write a bridge in there, but it was based off of the ending. And this is the way God created the heaven and the earth. All right. He looked at the end result, eschatological wise. He saw the end and he began to create the beginning of your life. All right. And so God sees the end of destruction of America and he began to write the beginning. He told Abraham that I I'm going to enslave your people for 400 years. And God knew how he was going to do it. He drew up a blueprint. We call these blueprints in the Bible dispensations. There's about 7 of them. Some people put 8 in there because of the dispensation of eternity. All right. And God took the people through a time of testings. And this is how he got the children of Israel into bondage when he first told Abraham, that he was going to put them in there. He had to then allow Abraham to have a baby. And then he had to allow Isaac to have a baby. And he had to allow these 2 babies to war in the womb of Rebekah. This is too much for me, y'all, okay? And then the one went in and the one did that, okay? And it came out and he had to use this Jacob as a man who was a usurper. He was a trickster, okay, to do all these things so that he could so that he had to run. He had to leave town and go work for his uncle, okay? And then he sees this woman that he wants, and he works for 7 years. Come on, y'all. Yeah. Vanetta says there's 7. Yeah, not 8. Some people actually put 8 on there. Vanetta, they put 8. When you go to Google, you'll see that some people put 8 on there. Okay. He went there and he wanted this one woman, but then he wound up sleeping with this other one. It's just amazing things you can do in the dark. Okay. And then, well, you know the story. And he wound up bringing those 2 women home with him, and he began to have babies with these 2 women and these other 2 midwives. Okay. These concubines, I guess you can call them. And then he gave birth to these children, and these children began to have their, if they came from the one wife or the second wife, it may not have been as bad, but it came from, the problem came with these 2 other women. All right. These midwives, these concubines, or these helpers of, Rachel and Leah. Okay. Those other women, y'all can put their names there. Zilpah and okay. And those babies were born. And then what did God do? He made sure that Jacob fell in love with one son, the favorite, Joseph. Understand? Joseph. Fall in love with that boy right there. And do it in front of the brothers. God was orchestrating that thing. Because I need the jealousy of these brothers to explode in their faces, so they can get so upset that they've got to find a way to get revenge. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to give Joseph a dream, and then in this dream, I'm going to show Joseph that they're going to bow to him. Oh, it's just I can't do this right now, y'all. They're going to bow to this boy, and he's going to publicly say it in front of them. And it's going to make them even more jealous. It's bad enough you gave that boy a coat of many colors, and then they began to plot to kill their brother. He says, this is how it's going to happen. Now, you already know all the story. It will take me too long. We've been talking about this for 2-3 weeks in the Sunday school lesson. But this is how God, from the moment he told Abraham, I'm going to get the children of Israel into Egypt, he had to go through Jacob to go through Joseph, to make sure that Reuben have play a part in this, to make sure that Judah plays a part in this, to make sure that Potiphar plays a part in this, to make sure that Potiphar's wife play a part in this, because that boy was so fine, all right, to make sure that he goes into jail, to make sure that the butler and the baker plays a part in this. God gave them dreams, and then they went up, and then God gave Pharaoh a dream. He had to play a part in this. He had to go back down there and get Joseph back up out of the dream, out of the dungeon, so that he can tell Pharaoh what's going to happen, because that was the most important dream of it all. God used Pharaoh to explain how he was going to get those people over into Egypt. He's got to make sure that the whole territory was going through a famine. Ain't no food, but I'm gonna make sure Egypt got plenty of food because my boy is there. Man, I'm trying to tell y'all, this is good to me. Okay, my boy is there, and I got to make sure that my boy go and get his family and bring them over, so that when they start having these babies, they can live here in Egypt. I got to make sure, because God don't lie, this is how I'm going to do it. And so famine came, And he went and got his boys, and there they were. He got his daddy, and there they were. And they stood there, and then the Bible said that boy died, and then there was a Pharaoh that did not know Joseph. Oh, my God, the day it was too many of them Israelites, and that's when the bondage came. And then if Abraham was alive, he would have been like, checkmate. Checkmate. Yes, every part was vital for this. Yes, for this point. Come on. Leah and Rachel and his concubines. Yeah, thank you. Bilhah and Zilpah. Thank you, Vanetta. Yes, thank you. The handmaids of Leah and Rachel, respectfully. Yes. Reveal the plan. Reveal the plan. Yeah, that's it. Jacob learned that that mess from his mother. Who? Yeah, that's good, Michelle. That's the court reporter, y'all. She's got a new name, the court reporter. Yeah. All right. That's how God got the children of Israel into bondage, and then he had to then free them, but he had to wipe them out. All right, in order to do this, because because in walked Caleb and Joshua. Oh, man, why? Because God needed to introduce them to judges. I'm leading y'all to somewhere, y'all. He had to lead them to judges. Now, here are the facts. There is a generation that only saw one black man in the presidency. Barack Obama served for 8 years. There's a generation that only knew a black man. Yeah. They only knew a black man. And they only got about less than 4 years with this white face in office. This is important, y'all. This is important. Here's another fact. There is a generation who will only know the Donald Trump style of governing. Do y'all understand? If he's elected again, there is a generation that would only know his style. I'm trying to tell y'all, God is a chess player. Here's another fun fact. Choosing the Supreme Court justice affects a whole generation. You understand? Y'all already know that, right? Here's another fun fact. America's remedy for sin, this is very important. America's remedy for sin is to legalize it. You understand? Her remedy for sin is to legalize it. So to give it certain names, give it different names. You couldn't gamble. They called it policy when I was coming up. You couldn't do it. So what they do? They call it the lottery now. Legalize it. You couldn't smoke pot, but they had to legalize it. So what they call it now? They call it what they call that plant. Okay? Legalize it. I mean, there's a lot of things that was once forbidden. Legalize it. All right? America is not tired of the sin. America is tired of the pain of the sin. Do you understand? So she don't focus on sexual purity. She focus on contraception. Do you understand what I'm saying? That's why we have this whole spectrum of transgenders and all these things, okay? That's why we have the abortion, this and all that stuff. The immorality. You understand? You got to legalize it. Don't get rid of it. But I don't want the pain of it. So I got to find a way to make it easy on my life. You understand? You have to invent. Instead of telling homosexuals not to lay with each other and to sodomize each other, and this disease called AIDS come on the scene, let's find a remedy. Let's find medicine so that these homosexuals can continue in sodomizing each other, and you won't find traces of AIDS in their system because we found a remedy for y'all to continue. That's why some of the parents did not like some of you passing out condoms, because condoms seem to be a way for the children to say, well, we got condoms now, so we gonna do it. Y'all gonna do it anyway, so you might as well be safe with it. And saying that is the mentality. So let's talk about the book of Judges. The generation is now dead. Joshua. No more Joshua generation, y'all. It says here, he left no leader after the first 5 books of the Bible. And then God told Joshua, my servant Moses, he dead. He dead. Ain't no leader. Everyone did what was right in his own eyes. So what happened? 4 things. Govern. Number 1. Now, number 2, you got to vindicate. Number 3, now punish. Number 4, then exert your authority. Does that sound familiar? Huh? I wear my suits on the pandemic nights because I'm preaching. I put my rope on because I need y'all to know I'm qualified. All right? I'm going to put my license back here. I'm going to let y'all see my license. All right? That's what's happening. That's how Hitler got in office. That's how Stalin got in office. That's how Kim Jong-il got in office. That's how Putin got in office, okay? That's how Donald Trump got in office. You understand? Here it is. And this is Judges. Govern. Vindicate. Punish. And then exert your authority. Number 2, the people of Israel began to worship false gods. Understand? Number 3, Israel gets sold to another people. Number 4, Israel cries out to God. Number 5, God then raises up judges. Number 6, then the judge brings salvation. Number 7, and then the land rests. Number 8, wash, rinse, and repeat. Like a double dip recession. We've had 34 recessions since 1854, y'all. But we only had 1 depression. Just 1, and they're saying that we're possibly in the depression right now. Man, I'm trying to tell y'all. So what do we see? We saw this pattern in Judges 12 times. You're like, what pattern? The pattern I just gave you. Govern, vindicate, punish, exert authority. All right? All these things where the people of Israel began to worship idol gods and then they got sold to other people. Okay? And then they cried out to God. Then God raised up judges. And then the judges brought in salvation. And then the land rested. All that happened 12 times. Othniel. Judge Ehud, who was the left-handed hero. Remember him? Shamgar, who saved Israel from the Philistines. Remember? Deborah, all right? She was Judges. I call her the Judges Wonder Woman. She used a hammer. Yeah, she was the hammer woman, okay? Gideon, clothed by the Spirit of the Lord. He led 300 men to battle, okay? Judge Tola, Judge Jair, Judge Jephthah, Judge Ibzan, okay, or Abzan, Judge Elon, Judge Abdon, and Judge Samson. Y'all understand? These are the judges who went through those stages with the children of Israel 12 times. 12 times. So what's happening? God is happening. Listen, if Donald Trump get back in office, it's because God is not through with him. He's still playing chess. And you never win when God plays chess. You understand? You never win. What does that say? Oh, well, praise God. Thank you, Lou. I got a message down there. I didn't know what that was. I got scared. Thank you. I got a super chat. I get excited when I see those, okay? He puts Donald Trump back in office. Donald Trump selects a Supreme Court justice, okay? God tips the Supreme Court justice to the right so that he can go into revisit the laws and change them or reinforce them. You understand? And then he removes Donald Trump, either in the second half full term or in the middle, because Donald Trump is a loose cannon. He could possibly, they possibly could get rid of him. Something could happen to him so that Mike Pence could become the man who continues it. That's one way. The other way is that Donald Trump not win. He puts Biden in the office, and you think that Biden would be a better choice. That's not so. Biden is the same choice. I just upset it. All my Democratic friends got the thumbs down on YouTube right now. Yeah. Come on, your hands are too short about God. If you don't know anything about end time, if you don't know anything about eschatology, Biden is not the better choice, best choice. Biden is the same choice as Donald Trump. It's one extreme to the next. Both extremes lead us to a closer, quicker time in the end. The end shall come through both of them. I'm not saying the both of them will complete the end. I'm saying the both of them will strengthen the end. You understand? Yeah, we're gonna get some people in here talk about. Oh, we did that show Sunday. I don't know. You have to rewind this. Rewind it. Everyone hates America because of Trump right now, and that's the reason. That's the reason. That's the reason. That's the reason. Okay? All right? That's the reason. If y'all are not spiritual, you will never see what's going on here. 30 years ago, God prepared us for today through Bork, as it pertains to the judges, through Richard Nixon, as it pertains to what we see here now, because of the bipartisanship. You see, if Richard Nixon was the president today, he would still be in office. He would not resign, nor will they be talking about getting him out of there. Why? Because back then, we were closer. In every generation or every election term, we go further and further and further away from each other. So we will never, ever come together and agree on anything that's important to all of us, all right? The only time we'll do that if a nation comes over here and starts attacking us. 9/11, you saw how everybody was together. But we still started going against certain American citizens, all right? When the pandemic came, we started attacking the Asian people, saying that they brought in kung flu and all this stupid stuff, all right? So America's always against somebody, all right? But we're too far apart in the House of Representatives and the Senate and the White House, the three branches of the executive branches, that is, they're too divided. So America's divided. Racial injustice, whether it's political, whether it's in education, whether it's in religion, the black Pentecostals against the white evangelicals, okay? Puerto Ricans are against Mexicans. Japanese people are against Chinese. Africans are against African Americans. I mean, it's really bad. So we got infighting, and then we got a civil war. United States is all jacked up. And God is in heaven. He's laughing. He's, oh man, this is good. Oh, this is good. Who's next? This is good. Now they're going down into the polls. This is good. Now here's the thing. God ain't telling y'all his next move. That's the thing. The prophets are prophesying, but they don't know what to prophesy, so they give you a smooth saying. God has not told the prophets what his next move is. He used to do it in the Old Testament. He says, I won't do anything unless I tell the prophets. And now, today, he's not telling the prophets specifics. The prophets are coming forth and giving y'all generalizations and things like that. Just general stuff, but he ain't giving you his hand. Notice, the people ain't coming forth in your churches and saying, this person right here is going to be the president, here's going to be the vice president, and here's what God will do next, and here's what they're going to do next, and no, they're not coming out. They can't. One prophet the other day said that Trump is going to be the president. The other prophet said that Biden's going to be the president. I'm like, both of y'all are known prophets. Even the prophetic industry, and I said industry right, even they're divided. Why? God ain't talking. He ain't giving you his move. But when the move happens, you can put 2 and 2 together and say, oh, I see. Trump's the president again. That means you're not through with us. We getting ready to go through more punishment, which means gird up your loins. Gird up your loins at home, because we getting ready to get spanked for possibly 4 more years through this man's style. Biden gets in there, we're going to get spanked, but a new kind of spanking. I'm trying to tell y'all, you better hear me. You ain't got to hear me, but I'm going to sleep well tonight, because just like God got a plan, he gave me a plan too. The next move is in God's word. Pitts, you was all in my head when you said that. Yep. The prophets today are prophesying partisanship. Yep. That's exactly what they're doing. That's exactly what they're doing. Notice when they come forth. When the prophets prophesy, notice certain words come out which tell you whether they're Democrat or Republican. And when prophets come forth and start using political terms on where they're leaning, run, Forrest, run. Because I don't trust any party. I don't trust any of them. Yep. Either way, we're going to be spanked. Either way. Get ready for the spanking. All right? What I suggest you do is pull your monies in. I need you to start pulling your monies in. Don't be hoarding. All right? Because the United States dollar is going to be worth less. All right? So don't hoard the money, because you can't. It doesn't grow when you hoard it. It doesn't collect any interest. It's not an investment when you hoard money. No. It's time to invest, y'all. It's time to invest. Look after your family. Train and teach your young people, your children, your daughters and your sons and your grandchildren. It's time to show them, teach them. Why? Because you're going to be dead, and they're going to be on this earth under a tyranny of the past administration. They got to live on top of this. And all that money y'all got, them stimulus packages and all those loans that y'all got from the government, your children or possibly your grandchildren will be suffering because of it. And all of the money that the Federal Reserve is pumping into the stock market, that money got to come from somewhere, all right, from the Treasury Department. Your children has got to eat that up. So I suggest what you do is stop allowing your kids to go out there and just do whatever. Sit around the house all day long. Walk around with the pants drooping and not working. They got no plan, no nothing, no future, no nothing. You just taking care of them. You are raising lazy bumpkins who are going to be on the street corner, or who are going to be homeless, all right? Or they're going to be in jail, or they're going to be dead. You raising them kids. I suggest you stop asking America, what can you do for my black people? You start doing it for yourself. God, I thank you for your presence, your blessings. We honor you today. What a time we're living in right now. Oh, what a time. But you saw it from the inception, from the very beginning. Before you formed Adam, you knew what I'd be talking about right now. We're in perilous times. But God, you've got us in your hands. The king, and the heart of the king is in your hands. Peace will come to our homes, but only through our sacrifice of praise and our obedience to your word. If we just focus our minds on you, you said that you would keep us in perfect peace if we just keep our minds on you. So take us through, God, as we go through this shaking in our country. Fires in California and hurricanes and tornadoes from the north, east, west, and the south. Every time we turn around, we see nature at work that seem to be against us, but even you have nature in the palm of your hand. God, keep us safe. Give us wisdom, strength. Help us to read your word and study it, interpret it, so that we'll know the next move in our future. God, I love you. Give us a praying spirit and forgive us of our sins. A contrite heart. what you require of us. You resist the proud, you said, but you give grace to the humble. Humble us, bridle our tongues, help us to see. We're hungry for you. We have hunger pangs. So, oh God, feed us with your word. We love you. We'll forever give your name the praise in Jesus' name. In Jesus' name. In Yeshua's name. It's at that name every knee will bow, every tongue will confess. Not Hare Krishna, not Buddha, not Allah, not Muhammad. It's at the name of Jesus Christ, from my lips to the world. At his name, every knee shall bow, every tongue will confess. And if you don't know him right now, I suggest you get to know him before you go to bed, because your eyes opening up tomorrow is not guaranteed to you except by the grace of God. I suggest you get to know him tonight. You don't have to go find books and stream YouTube. All you got to do is just out of your mouth ask. You shall have. It's just that easy. Seek him tonight in your closet, in your car, in your kitchen, in your bedroom, in your back porch, wherever you are right now. You just call on his name, and I guarantee you, by the word of God, by his promise, you will receive the Holy Spirit, and then he will keep you. And whatever you go through from that moment on, trust me, the heart of even you will be in his hands. Do you understand? Call on his name tonight, and you will be saved. Just that easy. No school required. Amen. I love y'all. We'll see you tomorrow. Relationship Monday. Okay? 8 o'clock. Clock keeper. 8 o'clock. All right. Go witness to somebody this week, if you please. Witness to somebody. Stop being a lazy saint. I love y'all. Hey, if you're on YouTube, take your prophetic thumb. Smash the like button right quick. It's about 100 of y'all. Smash the like button right quick and turn it fuchsia blue. That's a pretty color. Fuchsia blue. It just sounds nice, okay? And the people who got their thumbs down, well, they want Mike Pence to be the president. He ain't running. Okay? Bye, y'all. I love you. Facebook, share this real quick. Bye-bye.
Well, goodbye. 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 Enjoy yourself. Goodbye. 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 Bye. Well, goodbye. 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 Goodbye.
Fellas, does it seem like you can't get a good woman? Ladies, wonder why you can't keep a man? Then read The 4 Women That Men Desire, Volume 1, by Sir Walter Jones to figure out how to break the cycle. Go to Amazon.com to get your copy today.
Right, Mr. Walters?